It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
If at first you do not succeed, try again. So, take two. What's up, guys? Lee Sanders with you guys. You're checking out the new RCWR show for this August 19th of 2024. We had some technical issues there. I still think because of everything, I at this point think it is Restream related, and that's pretty much who we've been using to basically resyndicate our streams to multiple platforms. Now what we're doing with this particular stream, we're keeping it simple by just streaming directly to YouTube. So I am literally doing a YouTube OBS direct connection because honestly, truth be told, back in the day before I started tripping over the other platforms, I just stayed dedicated to YouTube. That pretty much was, and besides the show on demand and on the downloads, audio format wise, I mainly stick to YouTube. So if you weren't checking out the shows one of those two ways, that pretty much was it, honestly. But I like to try to incorporate the other platforms that we're on. But I tell you what's been going on with Restream for these past couple of months, it definitely is not warranting continuing to be a paying customer, I got to admit to you guys. So definitely this week, I'm going to be looking into some alternatives from those guys. And I'm already aware of a few guys that's out there. I know some of my friends been trying to hit me to StreamYard and a few other places. Probably at this point going to, for sure, look into those because it's just getting so goddamn annoying to have these tech issues go down, whether it is 1 minute into the show, which we were fortunate the tech issues happened within the first 90 seconds of the broadcast, or it could happen 30 minutes into the show, or heaven forbid, we're 5 minutes away from wrapping up the show and then technical issues goes down. So trust me when I say by the time we get to Wednesday's show, because we're going to be doing a bonus show for you guys, get you all ready for AEW All In this weekend, I'm definitely going to have everything resolved. We're going to be looking at a couple of new avenues to embark on. So do me a huge favor for those of you that's trickling on in, whether you're checking this out live or you'll be watching this for on demand, make sure you smash the like button. That way it can help spread the awareness, because sadly everybody got the notification for the previous stream and I pretty much had to delete that stream. Unfortunately, if I could, I would retrieve it, but it's just not possible. So any technical issues that maybe, and I highly doubt we're going to have technical issues, because normally when I do the OBS direct connection to YouTube, we don't have any issues whatsoever. But in the event that we do happen to have some tech issues, just know I do have the show recording in the background. I'll just keep on going until we're able to wrap up the show, and then I'll gladly upload it for you all to check out. Let me know what you guys had thought about tonight's WWE RAW. I don't have no poll up this go round because honestly, your man forgot. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Mine was pretty good. The family is still away on vacation, and I've just been kicking back, taking care of my furry daughters because somebody has to do it. Not to mention, I've been enjoying some solid R&R, right? You know, one thing that was kind of interesting, though, and I wish I could have one thing back from this weekend, and that's the fact of I had the munchies. So there's really nothing here in the house. And typically, I will either go grocery shopping or I'll just order some takeout. And it'll last me a couple of days till the family gets back. I haven't done the grocery shopping yet. I've honestly, if I haven't been working, I've just been catching up on rest. That's pretty much it. So late Sunday night, going into Monday, I would say it was definitely around 2:30 in the morning. I decided, okay, a little hungry. What's open? And there's a McDonald's that's open 24/7, just down the street from me. It's less than a 5-minute drive. I decided, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead. Let me hit these guys up. So I go on the McDonald's app. Apparently, they got this shareable meal. I've never heard of this, but they got a big meal pack where you can get 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, a 20-piece chicken nugget. You get all that for $20. I'm going, okay, this is pretty decent. I can work with that. That'll definitely, did I mention the 20-piece nugget? That'll last you a couple of days, okay? So as we speak, I still have a large fry and a half left. I've got 15 nuggets. I still got a burger left, right? So, and I'm just gingerly eating it here and there and everything. So I hop in the car, and it rained earlier that day. So when I get in the car, there's mad condensation on all 4 sides of my windows. Now, the front, I'm able to take care of. I hit the windshield wipers. Boom. Good. My sides, I am pretty much screwed. My options are you either roll your windows down or maybe you take a towel or napkin, something, do it that way. And I just got the car washed. And one of the main issues that I have with my car, not sure about you guys, but one of the main issues I have with my car, even if my hands are clean, if I take a napkin or some type of a paper towel and I try wiping the inside or the outside of my windows, I get this irritating smear that just messes with them. I don't know why, but I get this nagging smear. So it's like, let Mother Nature do its thing. Stay with me. This is a good story now. So I don't wipe all my sides down. I damn sure don't wipe the back window down. Some of you guys are hearing this. You're going, oh, Lee, newbie mistake. Yes, it was a newbie mistake because your man had drove by 2 stop signs on my way to the McDonald's. Next thing I know, I get pulled over by a police officer. Yes, your man got pulled over by a police officer. My instincts are automatically kicking in. I'm going, okay, get off. Because I'm at this point, when the cop flashes quietly their lights, we're like on a main 4-way intersection. So at this point, I'm going, okay, let me immediately get off the intersection. Let me go park. And I automatically knew where to go. It wasn't that far. Like from the moment that he hit his lights, it probably took me about 20 seconds just to, okay, where am I? Let me pull over here. So I had my hands out on the driver's side, let the driver know, like, hey, I ain't up to no good, nothing. You go, hey, sir, how you doing? Like, I'm pretty good. It's like, I'm so sorry, but, my visibility is really bad out here. I got diabetes, and I'm hungry. I just wanted to get a bite to eat. I told my wife I was going, and she said, be careful. He's like, okay. Yeah, I see all that condensation you got going on in the car. Mine does that as well. All right, let me just see your license and registration. Have you had anything to drink tonight? Like, no, no drink. It's like, okay, cool. He's like, well, let me just check you out. And look, like I said, I totally understand where you're coming from. And my license, it says one of the restrictions, I got to have corrected lenses. So I did have my glasses on me. So he says to me, look, let me just check everything out. And, look, I'll just give you a warning. It's like, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool. Comes back, sure enough. He's like, yeah, Mr. Sanders, just, take it easy out here. He's like, I stopped you because you had blew past a stop sign. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. He's like, no, it's no problem. So you got any questions? You got any concerns? I said, no, if anything, if you could do me a favor and just, tail me for, just a little bit, just to make sure I get to the McDonald's, like, I'd appreciate it. And he's like, I can stay with you for a little bit, but if I got to go to another site, if I'm needed elsewhere, then I'm just going to take off, okay? I was like, okay, no problem. So nice officer. He must have stayed with me for probably, I would say, 3 minutes. Then sure enough, he got called elsewhere because, man, he drove like a demon out of hell. And he was gone afterwards. But, yeah, I told my wife what happened. She couldn't believe it. She's like, oh, my God, what does that mean for your provisional license? You're so close to getting your actual license. What did this mean? I'm like, well, it's not a moving violation. It was just a warning. And like from what I've researched, and this is some good trivia stuff to know for you, parents out there or whatnot. But anybody that has a provisional license, if you end up in a situation like mine, where you just get a warning, no points are deducted, there's no fines, nothing of that nature. I don't even think it's a case where it's on your record like that, because I know I had went on the website today, Department of Motor Vehicles. I went on the site today just to try to see, if everything was still in good standing, and everything still is in good standing. Of course, like I said to my wife, I'll give it a couple of days just to see if more time's needed to process. But everything is still showing I'm on point. But it's just as it sounds, a traffic warning. It's just a warning that, hey, be careful. Now, if a situation occurs where the same officer just happens to get you again, now you have escalated from a warning to, of course, every state is different as far as their rules and regulations. So you definitely want to check for your respected neck of the woods and everything. But I was knocking on wood going, I'm just glad what I got was a warning and not, because I'm literally about, I would say, I think from what me and the wifey did when we compared notes, I think I'm like 2 months away from getting the actual license. And so my fingers are crossed, but yeah, from what I was able to see, doesn't look like I'm in trouble or anything. But as I said to Tams, I said, what was the real travesty of all, hun? That McDonald's wasn't even good. All that, damn near 3 a.m, and the McDonald's wasn't even good. It wasn't even banging like that. Live and learn. So I had to share that. Some of you guys may get a nice little chuckle from that. Some of you guys may just be taken back by that. But also, I wish that if I could have had that back, I wish I would have turned off the ignition. I put the car in park. I did everything right. Probably the only thing I did not do that I wish I could have had back, I wish I would have turned off the ignition. But considering where I was parked, which when I ended up pulling to the side, I pulled into a parking lot for this small apartment complex. And there was just these big old tall black gates. Like, you weren't going anywhere. You were not going anywhere. But I wish I would have had the common sense to, hey, make sure you turn off the ignition. You would think that for a brother that has seen so many episodes of Cops and all that other bullshit, those instincts would have clicked in. But it's like, it just goes to show you, you don't know what's going on. You don't know how you would actually react to certain things when you're put in certain situations until you are actually in that situation. And then your instincts pretty much has to, you're allowing your instincts to kick in and pretty much guide you from out of there. But I know one thing, I wasn't nervous. I was calm, cool, collected, and that's the best advice that I can give anybody. Just be calm, just be cool, just be collected. If you didn't do anything wrong, then handle all the police officers' questions and commands accordingly, and you will definitely be on your merry little way. So, besides that, I have been enjoying myself, resting, relaxing, enjoying spending time with my furry daughters when I'm not working and everything. Look, I hope you appreciate the little side chatter for what it's worth, because this is going to be an extremely short show. We're already at the 14-minute mark. I am estimating that we'll probably be on for another 25, maybe 30 minutes is pushing it, because it's been a slow news week. It really, really has, right down to the point. Earlier today, or tonight rather, while Raw was on, I was taking the liberty of just, okay, what's going on news item-wise? What's there to really talk about and everything? And there's really nothing that's out there. Shout out to everybody that had took part at the Fanatics Fan Fest. I'll just say Fan Fest. That was out in New York. Looked like you all had a great time. I saw some of the prices. I don't know if it was for that same event. Actually, no, it wasn't. But I saw prices for some Comic-Con event that had something to do with Mark Hamill. And Mark Hamill wanted like $700, $400, $500. I'm looking at that shit going, no way, no how. And I'm remembering when I got an opportunity to see Stan Lee a few years back at AwesomeCon, right before he passed. And remembering the prices, I even confirmed with Tams earlier, and not even Stan Lee was commanding those prices that Mark Hamill and a few others were commanding. And it's just, look, if you've got the indisposable income, more power to you. If $400, $500, $700 and up is just a drop in the bucket for you, you sleep good at night, it don't bother you one little bit, more power to you. But to do all that and not really have anything to show for, hey, to each its own. But we are 2 weeks away from WWE Bash in Berlin. We got some continued development that went down with this week's Monday Night Raw. CM Punk challenging Drew McIntyre to a strap match, of which McIntyre accepted. We knew that there was going to be a part 2 to this rivalry going down. So the fact that it's going down, Bash in Berlin, and it's going to be a strap match, that's going to be, oh, man. I'm looking forward to that. Let me tell you, I am looking forward to that. I think that is going to be, for all the matches on that card, that is going to be the one I feel most people are going to be talking about. So some great development from there. Also, Ludwig Kaiser stepping up in the main event match against Randy Orton. That closed out tonight's show, believe it or not. And I thought Ludwig Kaiser delivered on so many levels. I thought he hit another home run. He looked so poised. He looked so calm, so cool. I mean, he literally was Cool Hand Luke out there from what I saw of him tonight. If I had only one bone to pick on when it comes to Ludwig, I wish that he would pick up just a little bit more bulk. But I kind of feel as though maybe that bulk will come in due time. But I really, how old is he anyway? Because I would be shocked to hear if he's in his mid to late 30s. I'm actually looking up his age right now. Okay, so he was born in 1990. So he's 34 years old. I want to see him get a little bit more bulk on that body. Just a little bit more bulk would do just fine, I think. That sounds like rain. Is it raining? I'm hearing something in my headphones. These headphones, when I got them on, super sensitive. And I'm wondering if I'm hearing rain. I hope I'm not hearing rain, because if I'm hearing rain, that's definitely going to change my plans as far as hitting the road for tonight, getting some money. But, Wade, how he looks, putting that to the side, held his own extremely well against the Viper, Randy Orton. Gunther was out there watching everything go down. Tried to interfere a couple of times and everything, but Randy Orton was pretty much able to hold down the fort, pick up the W over Kaiser. I like also that WWE is reminding us, hey, we have not forgotten about Kaiser and Sheamus. Their feud is still there in the rearview mirror. We know you fans want to see that. I'm hoping that's maybe something we'll get to see at Bash in Berlin. We'll have to wait and see. But a great effort by both men in this main event. I cannot sing enough praises for that match. Of all the matches for tonight's Raw, I definitely would say that's the one match you should go out of your way. Check that out for sure. By the way, shout out to Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, this is it for him. He made the announcement on social media prior to tonight's broadcast that this Raw would be his final show, as he's going to be going back full-time to ESPN and all that, college game day, NFL coverage. So he's going to be doing that for the next handful of months. But Michael Cole did reveal that we'll see Pat McAfee again in January. Pretty much when Raw makes the move to Netflix, that's when we'll see Pat McAfee back again. So, kind of sucks. I agree with some people that's out there and their comments of, it's great that Pat McAfee goes away just when we're starting to get a little irritated with him because he's better in drops. He's better in drops. He's one of those guys you don't really... And I thought that was so interesting to hear some people say that because it's, well, wait a minute. We're getting this guy once a week, and if it's not a situation where it's SummerSlam weekend or whatever, and which, by the way, I thought in regards to how Pat and Cole operated SummerSlam weekend, I thought they did fantastic. They seemed very juvenated, fun little banter, great chemistry. If anything, it seemed as though they were more unchained. They were more, any shackles that might have been, those were off when it came to just doing these press conferences and little fan fest things left and right. They seemed to be more just at ease. They could just really, really let loose. So I thought it was interesting to hear some people complain that, even though we're getting Pat McAfee once a week, no, I actually have not minded him with Cole all these weeks. But if you want to make the argument of, hey, it's good that we get Pat McAfee for 3-4 months straight, and then he has to go away for 3-4 months, I like how this is operating. That's a good thing. Okay, I can definitely hear you on that. Right before you can start to feel a little irritated or go, look, I think we all could be in agreement. When it comes to Pat McAfee and Booker T, if you had to choose between the two, Pat McAfee is going to win every single goddamn day of the week. Let's be honest. He is going to win every single day of the week. I missed the guy already. I can't wait to see how things are going to play out for Raw for the next little bit, because remember, we were introduced to that new color commentator, and we gave you the news about him. He's supposed to be starting up in September. So I can't help but wonder, is that still going to be the case? Or are they going to bring this guy up maybe sooner or later? That's what I can't help but wonder personally. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. But what other developments had went down on tonight's Raw? New Day was in the house teaming up with Odyssey Jones to take on the Final Testament. By the way, shout out to my guys out there that have been busy these past couple of weeks playing WWE Supercard. I know there was a lot of events that has been going on in the past couple of weeks with that game. You had the Street Fighter Invasion. Hopefully a decent amount of you guys were able to take advantage of all of the Street Fighter cards that was out there. The only Street Fighter card I was not able to obtain was the Akuma card. I could have gone for Akuma, but I looked at the stats. Because remember, Akuma was an Enigma rarity card. I looked at the stats when that thing was fully developed, and I just said, no, it's not worth the grind. It's not worth the hustle. Because pretty much after I got my M. Bison, and I got 5 M. Bison cards. I got all 5 M. Bison cards. And that M. Bison card, that was part of the new, part of the new SummerSlam rarity pack, rarity tier. After I got that M. Bison card, I said, no, I'm good. So, but no, we had the Street Fighter Invasion. What else? Odyssey Jones. I got in the super card talk because Odyssey Jones, they premiered his card as part of the Last Man Standing event. I thought that was kind of cool, the way that had just synced up with the fact that, he debuted on the main roster not that long ago, and here you have his card available. I thought that was a nice little touch. They had a limited edition Hot Rod Rowdy Roddy Piper card that was available as well. There was a lot of stuff that's been going on these past couple of weeks, so hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that. Some fun stuff that was out there. New Day teaming up with Odyssey Jones, defeating the Final Testament. Look good. I like the fact that Xavier Woods, before this match went down, had a conversation with Kofi Kingston. Kofi was the one that initiated it, letting him know, look, I've been checking you out the past couple of weeks. Your energy, your whole aura, it's been off, and I want to get down to the bottom of it, find out what's going on. And Xavier told him straight up, he said, yeah, honestly, I wish you would have talked with me before bringing in Odyssey Jones, because it feels like you're trying to replace Big E here, and there is no replacing Big E. And Kofi Kingston was very sincere with him and saying, you know what, you're absolutely right, but feel where I'm coming from. This is definitely not a case where I'm trying to replace Big E. Can't nobody replace Big E. New Day, it's going to be New Day no matter what. But in the case of Odyssey Jones, remember how it was when we all had formed New Day. All the jokes that was happening left and right. We had to prove ourselves. And in due time, we did. Here's this guy in Odyssey Jones. I thought it'd be a nice way for us to not only help put our arms around, this young brother, this young up-and-coming guy on the roster, but do him in a way that we wish some folks would have done us back in the day. It's just paying it forward was Kofi Kingston's whole message. So once Kofi broke it down that way, Xavier kind of came around. Okay, all right, bet, totally understand. Now, we did see a little bit of a perturbed Xavier Woods in the final moments of this match. He was expecting to get the hot tag, but instead the tag went to Odyssey Jones, and he was pretty irritated about that. However, New Day ended up picking up the win there, thanks to the big man. So it kind of seems as though Xavier has been, I guess you can say his nerves has been calmed for now. Not really sure. We'll see how that continues to develop, but the nice slow burn cooker of this tension that you can definitely cut with a knife. Yeah, I love what WWE is doing here. And, it's nice to know that apparently Triple H, there's a report floating around that Triple H is seeing what everybody is saying on social media. He is paying attention to what the fans are saying. Hey, this is working. That's not working, and is pretty much tweaking on the fly. If that is true, wow, that's all I got to say. Mad respect. That's all I got to say. No disqualification match. Bronson Reed taking on The Miz. Look, Bronson Reed killed another person, but, this is The Miz. Don't get me twisted here. Miz has definitely paid his dues. Miz, former World Heavyweight Champion, former WWE Champion, definitely a future ballot Hall of Famer, all of that. But I think it would have been more meaningful, more impactful. Here's where WWE messed up here with Bronson Reed in this case. That's great that you took out the fan favorite and R-Truth. That's great that you set that up. Really great what you did with Seth Rollins. I think what would have been a shocker and really would have had people go, no. I think it would have been badass had they had Bronson Reed take out Pat McAfee. All things considered. If Pat McAfee would have been down for it too, I think it would have made all the sense in the world. And you easily could have done this in a way where several weeks back you could have had Pat McAfee throw in some subtle shots at Bronson Reed. That's despicable. Why is he doing that? Picking on that poor defenseless, that hoodlum. He could have mentioned little insults like that, and eventually we could have seen a case where maybe Bronson Reed, and Cole could have been right there agreeing and all of that. Maybe we could have seen a case tonight where the payoff would have been for Bronson Reed to try and confront Michael Cole. Pat McAfee intervenes. Reed backs down.
attacks McAfee from behind, drags him in the ring, does those squashes. And then you could pretty much take him off of television that way. Now, the only pushback to that would be that I could see from some fans, okay, so you do that to Pat McAfee. So when Pat McAfee comes back, does he try to have a match against Bronson Reed or no, but if you want to push back and say, I don't really like that because it seems like you're setting up possibly a match for McAfee and Reed down the line, right? I just feel not everything needs to, because this happened with this person, this means there's going to be a match down. Not everything has to go down that way. It can just be all about further enhancing a character and that respected arc that they're on. Just wish they would have gone in that direction because after all of that was said and done, Bronson Reed ready to do a dive on The Miz. Braun Strowman came out. Braun Strowman once again rushing. What is it with Braun Strowman and running or rushing down the ramp and everything? Whatever. Big Bronson Reed, big Braun Strowman, cheesing at each other, nodding. Okay, so obviously these two big guys, they're gonna get it in. They're gonna get it on in the near future. I personally don't think they've done enough to build up Braun Strowman this go round. I could care less about a Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed. I could care less about, honestly. Does nothing for me. It does nothing for me whatsoever. What else went down tonight? Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest almost getting some revenge there on Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. The numbers game, once again, though, too much for them. Too much for them. Remember, there's that intergender tag match that's going to be going down in less than 2 weeks. So, yeah, they may finally be able to get their hands on them in the tag match. But all that interference on the Judgment Day side, seriously, there is strength in numbers. And right now, Ray and Damian, they need more numbers on their side to balance out everything that's going on there with Judgment Day. Wyatt Six was in the house. There was a match. I'm trying to think. Yeah, if I remember it right, I think it was Ivy Now. Yeah, Ivy Al and Maxxine. They were supposed to get it on, but I don't think we actually got the full match. I could be mistaken, but I don't think we got the full match because I remember the lights went out. Nikki Cross in her get-up, she appeared. Wyatt Six all popped up. There was Carnage, Uncle Howdy hitting his sister Abigail on Chad Gable. That pretty much ended that respected segment. So I would imagine at this point, Chad Gable is going to demand for some type of a tag match. I'm thinking about the number of matches that's been announced so far for Bash in Berlin. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Wyatt Six American-made at Bash in Berlin. Because I think at this point, we've only got maybe 3 matches that's been announced. I'm looking at the card right now for you guys. 4 matches that's been announced. So we got Gunther versus Randy Orton. Everybody knows about that one. We got Cody defending against Kevin Owens. Terror Twins, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley taking on Judgment Day's Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, and then we've got CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. I would imagine there's probably going to be 3 more matches announced, and then that pretty much is going to be the card for all intents and purposes. See, other than that, females were in action tonight. There was a triple threat match for the women's tag titles. We still have Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre as your champions. A mediocre match at best, I personally felt. Yeah, Damage Control versus Pure Fusion Collective versus Alba Fyre, Isla Dawn for the women's tag titles. But I will say, EO and Sane, I love watching those girls. I could watch them all day. They did pretty good in their efforts. They did pretty good. Other than that, I'm just thinking if there was anything else on this card for tonight. I'm just looking through my notes here, looking at the rest of the matches that we had go down. Oh, yeah, damn. I was talking about the main event match between Ludwig Kaiser and Randy Orton. Can't forget about Sheamus and Pete Dunne. That actually was pretty damn good for what it was worth as well. I would personally not mind seeing these guys do it again. Just up the ante even more. Do it on a pay-per-view event. But that definitely, yeah. Your two matches from this week's Raw, I got to give it up to Pete Dunne, Sheamus, Kaiser, Orton. Those are your two main matches I think you should go out of your way and check out for this week. Everything else, it wasn't bad, just, bit average. Time did feel like it went by pretty quick this go round for a 3-hour show. It did feel overall it was a solid episode of Raw, all things considered. I would say that second hour was semi a snooze fest, but the third hour definitely, really good. Look, the first hour, the way they opened it up and everything, I mean, great, especially with that match between Sheamus and Pete Dunne. I mean, that you had this high point that you did, and then you definitely took I won't say it was a nosedive, but you definitely hit a decline for that second hour. But then they picked it back up when it came to that third hour and everything. So Pat McAfee being gone, though, for a little bit, I don't mind it. I really don't, because Pat McAfee, for me, the best way I can describe Pat McAfee, he is like that great, think of your favorite sweets. Think of that one main go-to sweet that you like having the most. Now, if you're treating yourself to that sweet once a week, oh my God, you're in cloud 9, right? You're on cloud 9. But just imagine if a scenario occurs where every single time, like clockwork, you go for that sweet, and it might not always taste the same. Pat McAfee kind of has those moments at times where you go, if he wasn't here for this week, I would actually be okay with it. I don't want him to just be on the microphone just saying any old thing. I do want for him to have some substance, even if it's quirky, even if it's corny, even if it's funny. I just want for there to be substance. And I think for the most part, this rodeo, McAfee has definitely brought substance. But the timing for this break from WWE couldn't come at a better time, honestly. Because could you just imagine if he was juggling WWE and doing all the other stuff that he's already doing? He would, and now on top of that, you got to add in the football. The guy would definitely be running very, very, very thin. So the fact that we get a break from him for a handful of months is just going to make us appreciate that partnership more that he has with Pat McAfee, as far as I'm concerned. So, but decent edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. For sure. Decent edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. All right, let's see what else we can get into. Like I said, wrestling news-wise, extremely, extremely, extremely quiet. Like, I see a couple of AEW news tidbits that's running around. We can actually forward all that to the Wednesday show, because I will definitely come on after Dynamite's off the air, and we'll talk Dynamite. We'll preview All In, all that good stuff. One interesting little thing that's going on, and then let's not also forget, we've got, if you're into your politics, you've already seen what happened with the Republican National Convention. Now it's the Democrats' turn, as all this week they've got their convention and everything. And from what I've heard so far, they're kicking off on a pretty good high note or two and everything. So, but relatively news-wise, very quiet week. I know Alpha of the Wild Samoans had passed away. Talked about his passing at great length on a solo show that I did for Wrestling with the Topics. That's now available on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast, if you didn't check it out. But I dropped it right before the weekend hit. I'm aware of the stuff that's going on about Vince McMahon. There is some podcaster that put some stuff out about Vince McMahon declining health, speaking about the fact that some connection, a mutual friend of theirs that happens to know Linda McMahon, I guess, is very concerned about Vince McMahon and has basically said, yeah, he's not doing good. His health is on a serious decline. Vince McMahon's representation, legal representation, they've pretty much shot this down as to be a false rumor and everything. Look, and I appreciate the fact that the majority of the wrestling community, when they first heard this report in circulation, I love that one of the first things that they said to themselves and out in the open is, look, definitely need to take this with a grain of salt, because when it's all said and done, we aren't even sure who this person is that's putting this news out there. You know, how can exactly we trust this person as a credible source? You know, sure, this person might have been podcasting for, what do you want to say, a couple of months, a year, whatever. It's like, you know, their name isn't in enough circulation to the point of, you know, isn't that funny? Their name isn't renowned. It's not, okay, when you think wrestling, you think, or when you think wrestling news, you think, you know, they're not up there in those realms, but yet the fact that they said what they said got them so much clicks, got them so much hits that, you know, and that's a very slippery slope there of a path to be going down, you know, especially when someone is essentially unproven. They have an unproven track record and all of that. So, and it's kind of one of those deals where, would you trust? I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. It's one of those things where you go, would you trust a person like me who's been at this since 2011? I've interviewed many big name wrestling personalities, entertainment personalities. Would you trust intel that I would give you for as long as I've been doing this? Or would you trust somebody like this guy who just from out of left field, like out of nowhere, where you got to be honest with yourself and saying that, okay, well, before today, did you ever hear about this guy? Did you even know that this guy existed? Did you even know that this podcast of his was in existence, right? Did you even know that he considers himself to be part of the wrestling news industry and all that other stuff? And when you're answering no's across the board, you feel where I'm coming from? So, you know, this is a case right here where you kind of have to use common sense within reason. And you got to go, well, yeah, Vince McMahon probably isn't going to be in the best of health because he is getting up there in age, a lot up there in age. What is he now, 79, 80 years of age? You know, not to mention all the abuse that he used to do to his body. I mean, without a doubt, back in the day, he was injecting himself with the steroids and all that crap. He can try to lie, spin it however way he wants to spin it. Also, I could have sworn some of my friends in the podcasting world had mentioned that Vince McMahon was in attendance at the Republican National Convention some weeks back. Or was that just a rumor that he was in attendance? Because my whole thing is, if he was in attendance, there definitely should have been some photos that should have surfaced showing you how the guy was looking and everything. It's so amazing to me that we take a 79, 80, 81-year-old man who might be limping around with a cane now and all that other stuff, and we're saying, oh, not in the best of health, and it's like, well, yeah, no shit. You try doing what you're doing for X amount of years, and let's see if by the time you get into your 70s, 80s, let's see if you're still going to be able to run around and I'm still feeling like 40. Watch me do this. Like, no, these are people that are just, honestly, I think, throwing shit up on the wall, just trying to make something stick, just trying to catch some type of a buzz for their 15 minutes of fame. Honestly, at this point, I would trust Stephanie, Triple H, Paul Levesque, Shane McMahon even. I would rather hear from them directly in regards to what's going on with Vince McMahon's health. And I'm going to make a bold prediction. For you guys. I predict that when it comes to the Bash in Berlin press conference, when they open it up, or whatever they're calling it now. I know they're combining, press conference and then post-show. They're combining all of those elements. I'm predicting that by the time we get to that, somebody is going to ask Triple H, Paul Levesque, bank on it, if he can shed light on what the real deal is with Vince McMahon and his health. And we're going to find out definitively what's going on right then and there. You know it is. And like look, for anybody to not even bring up that question, you just can't help but scratch your head and be like, why do you even have these damn credentials? Like, seriously, why do you have these credentials? So you got to look at it and hang on. You got to look at it and think about it from those standpoints, for sure. Look at it and think about it from those standpoints, for sure. Other than that, relatively quiet. I mean, sincerely, relatively quiet as far as wrestling news. A lot of AEW stuff. Actually, not even too much AEW stuff. But it's enough that, honestly, we can forward that to the Wednesday show, since we're going to be talking about their pay-per-view coming up this weekend and everything. So what I'm going to do is stick a fork in it. Donne done. I'll be back with you guys Wednesday after Dynamite goes off the air. So 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be streaming right here on YouTube. And you notice we didn't have any tech issues this go round. Knock on wood. So like I said, come Wednesday, we'll definitely have our stream resyndication. We'll have that fixed. I'm hoping we'll have that fixed and everything. But in the meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR Show. Get at me all throughout social media using the keywords, the RCWR Show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys.